That way happily. I'm a grad student now. I lived as a trans woman for 5.5 years of my life, and even when it got so good, I knew I was a woman. Even when it got so good, nobody told me I wasn't a woman. When I had every kind of security available to me, still I was insecure in my heart, because every single person I met, I would walk up to them and I would say, you know, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, does this person accept me as a woman? Does this person accept me for who I am? Does this person accept me for being trans? And just all of these thoughts constantly running through my head, everybody I saw, and that's not freedom. I mean, that still hurt. I was so much more comfortable, I was so much happier, but I wasn't free. I was still being plagued by this notion of gender identity that people impose on us. I started to feel tired. I started to feel tired that I had to perform my gender identity every day, that I had to get up, and that I had to, you know, shave my face, and that I had to put on women's clothes, put on makeup, do everything so that people would think that I was a woman, because I was afraid that they wouldn't accept me otherwise. And it was so much fear and so much pain that I mean, if you look at the rates of mental health issues, the rates of drug addiction issues in the trans community, like, it's way higher than the usual average. And this is even among people who have transitioned for years, even among people who are comfortable in their identities. And you ask yourself, why is this statistically this way?
Society is transphobic.
Yeah, and I agree that we should be loving more on trans people. I agree with you on that. I agree that that causes a lot of pain. But here I was in a society in UC Berkeley, in a place where I didn't experience transphobia on a day-to-day basis, in large part because you all out here are so loving and so supporting, and yet still I felt these things, and yet still I felt this pain and this fear. So I don't think it can be entirely attributed to transphobia. I grew up without having any kind of Christian beliefs, any kind of religious beliefs at all. I didn't see any evidence of God. I didn't think he existed. I just dismissed him. But, you know, God came to me in a really powerful way, saved me from a moment of just incredible anxiety, incredible, like, sliding into depression and hopelessness, like almost to the point of being suicidal, and God saved me from all that. That's another story, so I'm not going to go into that right now. But when I saw God do that, I was like, wow, God must exist. Like, I cannot explain this. I've been struggling with mental health my whole life, and there's no way that I could have saved myself from this situation. When I came to Christ, and so I thought, God is love. I'm doing this thing that makes me happy. I'm being trans. It set me free. So God must want me to be trans. And so I lived, you know, for months as a Christian, believing that God wanted me to be trans. And after that, another Christian talked to me, and he said, no, God doesn't want you to be that way. And I said, you're wrong. You're being hateful. I know you know God really well. I know you're really loving, but you don't understand that. You don't understand me. You've never been in my shoes. You're being closed-minded. I said all of the things that this woman is saying right now to him. And he talked to me, and he talked to me, and he tried to explain it to me patiently. And finally, at the end of the conversation, he just broke down crying. He was like, look, I didn't want to talk to you about this. It hurts me to talk to you about this, but it's really important. And at that moment, I realized maybe I don't know what love is. Maybe, just maybe, like 0.01% chance this guy is right, that it would make me happier, that it would be more good for me to be not trans.
It's your choice.
Then
impose it on others.
Then he would be loving to tell me that. I recognized that in that moment, and I still didn't believe he was right, but if he were right, I knew that he was loving to tell it to me. And so I started to pray to God. I said, it's crazy, because I lived with gender dysphoria my whole life. 24.5 years of my life I lived with gender dysphoria, and in 2 weeks, wham, God healed me of it. I went from no way I could ever be a male again to, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what label society puts on me. It doesn't matter whether or not people put me in a male box or put me in a female box. I am loved because I'm a child of God. I'm always loved. I'm always accepted.
Standing up here and claiming free speech as your way of delivering an insidious message of homophobia and transphobia.
Yes.
I am
and
calling
I'm
to
telling you
attention
that you're
the
being a hypocrite,
ridiculousness.
because you're hating the same people that are hating. That doesn't get you anywhere. That doesn't make you any better than them.
You and I
if
have
they're really being
ideological
hating, and I
differences.
do think they're not being hating, you don't seem to be willing to debate that, so...
I believe that they believe they're not being hating. I do not believe that in fact, in actuality, in terms of measurable impact, this is the case.
But
I am sure that they have good intentions, but impact goes over intent, my friend.
And you, with your message, you are certain you're being loving, and there's no, to them, they think they're being loving, they're wrong. You think you're being loving, you're definitely right.
I think
There's no
I'm
way you
being
could be wrong.
angry and protective of people who need it.
Right, and you said you're doing that from a place of love. And what I'm asking you is, why is it that what they think is love is necessarily actually hate, but what you think is love, that's definitely love. There's nobody that can tell you otherwise. What?
Because in my
What's
view,
the difference?
nobody gets legally persecuted.
And in their view, nobody should get legally persecuted either. Nobody is saying that there should be legal persecution for how people feel. Nobody is saying that.